Once you have a class started, you have some features that you can use to help monitor your students' devices using Securely Classroom. The first thing you'll notice is I have all of my students listed. The students who are white are students that I excluded before I started the class. Those are students that are not present today. The grayed out student is a student that is in my class but is not on their device, so I cannot see what they are doing on their device. This student, you'll notice I have access to see their entire screen. There are two different view methods. You have this tiled view, which again allows you to see the current page. And as the student switches to a different page, you'll notice it also updates on your device. You also have the list view, and you can change view up here in the right-hand corner. And when you click on this list view, then you are able to see all of the tabs that the student has opened. So unlike our grid view, where I'm looking at only the main tab that the student is viewing, in list view, I have the ability to see all three tabs that the student currently has opened. When you are on the list view, you'll notice you also have the ability to close tabs on the student. So if I don't want them to have this tab open, I can hit the trash can and it will close that tab for the student. Then you'll notice that the new tab is then open. Along the top, you have the ability to add an additional 5 minutes to the class if you would like, if your class is running long. And then we have 5 settings right here, which would be settings that would affect the entire class, so every student on your class. The first one is a screen lock. When we do the screen lock, you can select it and say yes. You'll notice that you have the ability to put in your own message that the students will receive once the screen lock takes effect, or you can keep the pre-populated one that Securely has for you. And then I'm going to hit screen lock, and again you'll notice that the screen is locked, and there is a message for your student that says your screen has been locked by your teacher. When you want to unlock student screens, you are going to be hitting the green release button. So when I click on that, it asks you if you want to release for all devices. You can select yes, and you'll notice that the device is now released. The second option you have is a site lock. When you do a site lock, you have the ability to pick what site the students are locked into for your class or for a portion of your class. So I can hit yes, and then it brings me to your web link list. Again, you're going to want to set up your web link sites ahead of time. You can manually type in a URL if you have not pre-planned it. So maybe I want to lock them in to a specific site. I can do that. Or I can select one of the pre-populated ones that either I created or someone else in the district created. It will automatically populate to see all of the web links from the district, but if you have ones created, you can check my web links only, and you'll notice it will get rid of all those extra ones. I recommend selecting my web links only so that you are only viewing the ones that you have set. So again, if you want to restrict them to more than one website, you're going to be using web links. If you want to restrict it to a single site, you can manually enter in that site here. At the bottom, before you do the site lock, you have the ability to close all other tabs. This is great, especially if you want to lock them into one site. And then it's also important to make sure you allow the entire site. So this would be in the situation if you wanted to have them work on a Google Doc, right? Or they're doing something in Mathseeds. You know, if there's any redirecting that takes place, you want to make sure that allow entire site is checked so that they don't get hung up when they click on something that takes them still within Mathseeds or still within Google, but you want to make sure that they can then navigate within that site. And then the last one is do not open other tabs. So those are some options that you have for site lock. The last two we have is push URL. So if you would like to send a URL to all of your students so that they don't have to manually type in that URL, you have the ability to do that. You can just paste or manually type in the URL that you would like them to do. So if I'm going to do google.com, I can then push that URL, and it will automatically open Google on my student device. And there it goes. So that, that URL has been pushed to all of my students. The last option is the announce feature. This would, again, give an announcement to everybody in your class that is active. So I can click on the announce button. I would select yes, and then I can type in an announcement. When I hit announce, then you'll notice that on the student device, and it's hard to read here, but it gives the time, and it says the message, hello from your teacher. The student has to click the blue OK to go back to the site that they were currently on. So when I click OK, you'll notice that then it allows them back on that site. In addition to using these items to push out to your entire class, you do have the option to select multiple students to do something. So for example, if I wanted to make sure that both my students got an announcement, but I only wanted the 2 out of the 4 to get it, I can select them by clicking on them, and you'll notice there is now a green check. And then I can announce to those 2 specific students. And I can do the same thing with all my other features, whether it's screen lock, site lock, or pushing URLs. So those are just some of the features that you can use for the entire class. The next video will walk you through how to do individual features per student.